Changing minds one thought at a time.
Greetings and welcome to the Changing Minds Online Sunday night call. How are you doing today, Jessica?
Doing great. Thanks for asking, Akina. It was an amazing weekend, filled with lots of adventures. I did a marathon. I did a long bike ride. I got myself a new racing bike today, so I am ready to go and ready for this spring. Happy spring, everyone. We celebrated here in New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey now with some snow. So it's been a great weekend with that. How about you, Akina?
Oh, it has been wonderful, wonderful. I spent the weekend in Nashville. I helped a friend move into her first home with her new fiancé, and it is so exciting to see all of the wonderful changes that's happening in my friend's life. And, you know, it really put a good smile on my face and a warm feeling to my heart to be part of her journey. So today, everyone, today, everyone, we're going to be talking about, so what is holding you back? The inspiration to this call was you're going to learn a little bit about me today. I recently lost my grandmother, and as I've been thinking about her and grieving, I've noticed that the one thing that keeps popping up is that even though she was with me 37 years, she still didn't get to see me at my peak potential. And it was so many things I knew that was coming up that I wanted to share with her and I wanted her to be a part of. And I realized that I could have done a lot of those things a long time ago, but I was holding my own self back. And this was a good reflecting time because I was like, okay, so why didn't I do these things a long time ago? I was capable, I was able, but I didn't have the mindset that I have now to really go after the dreams that I need to go through. I was too comfortable in my complacentness to go out and step out of my comfort zone and get these things done. And so now I have to live with the fact that all of these things that could have been done a long time ago that she could have shared in and could have been happy and would have been happy for me about, she can no longer share with me. And everybody has their own breakthrough, and that apparently was mine. I realized that I am just at a tip of the iceberg as far as the potential that I have. And now one of the most important people in my life is not going to be here to share it with me. And that motivates me to move forward in my development and faster and quicker because I don't want the same thing to happen as far as my mother, my uncles, my father. And I'm at the age now where that could be a possibility. And so that is why we are talking about, so what is holding you back? When I was doing this self-exploration, I had to realize time to claim my power. Not a little bit of my power, not part of my power, all of my power. I'm very successful business-wise, but, you know, I could be doing other things, and personally, I could be on another level. And I could have done all of these things if I had claimed all of my power, not just the power that I was comfortable in. And that's where a lot of women fall. We claim the power that we're comfortable in, and it's really hard when we try to stretch out of our comfort zone and do more or go greater or go deeper. But there's always today. Tomorrow is not promised to us. We have to do what we're going to do today. Even if it's just one small step You have done something to get yourself closer to your greater. You have done something to make yourself stronger than you were yesterday, and you have done something to shift your mindset towards manifestation and success. What do you think on that, Jessica?
Really powerful. And thank you. I just want to thank you, Akina, for being so open and authentic and sharing with us. I know that it isn't easy for you to come on and talk about such a sensitive topic. But, for all of us, we all kind of can look back and say, wow, I wish I did something differently. And, it's easy to say it in hindsight, but tomorrow really is promised to no one. And it is really crucial and important that we live every day, just to the fullest, that we enjoy every moment, and that we be the best version of ourselves at all times, because we really don't know, for even if tomorrow is promised to us. So it's just so critical that we just live every moment. I'm a type of person that everyone just looks at me and says, well, I don't understand how you do what you do. You are constantly doing things. I never sit down. I don't watch TV. I don't own I own a television, but I don't have it hooked to anything. There's no cable. I actually got rid of my DVD player, all the DVDs. And people ask me why, and it's, well, I don't want to watch other people live their lives. I want to live my life to the fullest. And I was sharing a little bit about what my weekend looked like, and it was, I ran a marathon yesterday. I woke up, had to wake up around 3:30 to be able to run the marathon, to be able to drive up there. I drove all the way up to Connecticut, about a 2-hour ride, and it was snowing like crazy there. In the middle of the marathon. As soon as we started the marathon, it just started to snow. And I did that. I came home, and then I went out with some friends for dinner that night. And then, this morning I woke up and I did a long bike ride. I joined this new bike club. It was my first organized ride, and I did that. And then afterwards I went and I took my cousins to the gym, my little cousins, and we went swimming together. I came home from that, and again I went and had dinner with some friends. And people are asking, how do you do it all, and why is it that you're doing this all? And then life is short, and it's really our privilege to enjoy it, and to enjoy every moment. And when we really think about, what it is that we want our lives to look like, why is it that your life doesn't look like you want it to look like? What is preventing you? What is stopping you? And that's like a perfect example for me is, I have had this image for myself of that it needs to be difficult for me to do running or triathlons. And I've actually, and I'll own it, I created a lot of kind of chaos around doing things like running or biking. So yesterday I forgot my running shoes, and I'm moving back and forth now. I'm moving everything from my old apartment to my new apartment, and I had forgotten my running shoes in my old apartment. So I ran the marathon. Now it's snowing. It's like really snowy, and it's wet, and there's snow and there's ice on the ground, and I'm using tennis shoes, which were not appropriate for running, and I made it more complicated. And I realized that I have these limiting beliefs, or I don't really see myself where I wanted to be. So today, when I went on this long bike ride, and I realized how difficult I was making it by just not getting an appropriate bike. I was riding a bike that I had literally got from Santa Claus when I was a kid, and the same bike, it didn't fit me. It wasn't a road bike, and I said, you know what? I declared it on Facebook in a video. I said, I'm going to get a bike before the day's over, and I did. I went in onto Craigslist. I found someone who was selling a bike very close to where I lived with my size. It was a great price, and I went and bought it. And, it could be something as simple as that. It could be something simple as you're not able to be where you want to be because in some reason, for some way, you're sabotaging yourself. You're making it more difficult for yourself. There's some little small thing holding you back, and a lot of times people think that it's something like, it's physical, like it's the bike. It's never really the bike, right? It's your mindset. It starts off with this belief or thought you have about yourself. And whatever it is for you, you have to figure that out because every day you could be living the life of your dreams. We have as our motto, our slogan, the title of our first book, I can create my life. It's not that you can create your life in the future or that you can work now to create your life so that, once you are successful, You can live it however you want to live it. It's like every day you are creating your life. Every day your life should be exactly how you want it to look like. Now, there's things that we have to do we may not like or we may not enjoy, but in the same sense, like every day is your moment and you'll never get that day back. So you should have everything that you want now. You should be everywhere you want now. And you have access to that power. And I really like Akina's talking about it. It really, really just starts with figuring out what's holding you back.
Yes. This is the time where you really need to start doing self-discovery. And with the self-discovery, you need to decide where you want to be, who you want to be, why you want to be this person that you have in your mind. Then also really put down the goal for how you're going to become this person. You know, you're always successful when you start out with a plan. You'll have it written down, and you can actually check it off, and you can actually see that you have done great things. Each time you check off one of those items on your plan, you have took one step closer to your greater. And as you keep checking off this list, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment because you are taking care of you. You are developing you. You have made yourself a priority. And a lot of women have a problem with making themselves a priority. They're used to being the caregiver, caring for the family, caring for the children, caring for the people on their job. All of these things, and they put themselves on the back burner. But what is holding you back is the fact that you're not keeping yourself as a priority. You are worth the same energy and time that you're putting into everything else. You're worth that and more. So now is the time to start making the plan of action for your self-care, for your greater, for your success and your well-being. It is so important that you realize that you are everything and you are willing and able to do any and everything that you set your mind to. I know that Jessica had shared that she had wrote down a list of goals. I think she said, what was it, Jessica, 2,500 goals?
I have a lot more than that now. I think I shared at one point that that's how many there were. But, the amazing part about it is that there's so many of them have actually come true. And there was actually a point in which I had lost that book, and I wrote down a new set of goals. And I actually found it recently. When I was moving things around, I found it. And I said, now I had another one that I had worked off of, and I had written the majority of them down again. And but there were some of them that I had kind of forgotten about. But when I went back and looked at that list of goals that I wrote the first time, I can't even begin to tell you how many of them that I had crossed off without even realizing or thinking about it. Just when you write things down, when you put that intention to the world, to the universe, it just shows up. You just create that beginning of that energetic shift that starts that process of you creating whatever it is that you want to create. So it's very, very powerful. You have to really get clear in what you're creating because it's not possible to start attracting things that you want if you don't even know what those things are. So, and we've shared before, it's like trying to paint a picture and not know what you're painting. It doesn't make any sense. It's just not possible. And if you want to live the life of your dreams, you really need to get connected to what those dreams are. And as soon as you do, there's this shift in energy and really, I promise you, your life will start to look very, very different very quickly.
Yes, and you have to be specific with these goals. A lot of women sit there and pray, I want a man. Okay, and then you end up with a man who's not so nice, who is doesn't want to work, but you just said, I want a man. Versus if you say, I want a man that has a full-time job, that loves their family, that cares about themselves and others, that's a lot more specific than I want a man. And it makes a difference that you know exactly what you want. You cannot cross corners with this. You have to be very specific in your goal setting, because as your mind shifts and starts bringing it into fruition and the energy starts coming in, that is what you're going to attract, the specific things that you have put into the atmosphere. So if you put in something broad, you will get something broad. If you put in something specific, you will get something specific. Prime example, Jessica wanted a bike for her racing. She did not get a children's bike. She got a bike for her racing. Prime example, I wanted to become a university professor. I'm not a K-12 teacher. I am a university professor. We had to be very specific about the things that we wanted to do. And we had to then keep it and put it in the atmosphere so that we could get exactly what we wanted. It may not look, the delivery may not look exactly the way we envision it in our mind, but it is exactly what we've asked for.
Yeah, that's really powerful, Akina. And, on this topic of bike, because I really just kind of started this process today, and I really did this today. I went on a bike ride, and I realized, the bike I have is not adequate. And I declared on YouTube, and Facebook, I made a video, and I declared I'm going to get a new bike by the end of the day. Now, truthfully, a racing bike is very expensive. It's not just a minor thing. People don't typically just go out and say, I'm going to get a bike today. People tend to do research on what it is they're looking for and where they can get the best price, and you'll look for different years and reviews, and it's to many, to an extent, and especially to someone who races, it's a very, very big thing to buy a new bike. For me, it was my first bike, so I wanted to really get something that was going to be good for me. It's also my first time riding a road bike. I've never ridden a road bike before. But I went and I did a visualization, a meditation, and I wrote down what I wanted in the bike. And I said that I wanted the bike to have Shimano components, which is just a specific type of gears that are on the bike. And I said I wanted the bike to have an aluminum frame. I said I wanted the bike to be 50 centimeters. I said that I wanted it to be a racing bike. And I said I wanted it to be made after the year 2000. So I also said I want the bike for under $300. Now that is, it's a stretch. Bikes typically cost a lot more than that. And, of the bike that I said that I wanted, truthfully, is probably valued at more than that. But those were the criteria that I had. That was my visualization. I went on to Craigslist, and I searched for the criteria for that bike. I put, bike, road bike, Shimano components, aluminum frame, and I set the search to be less than $300, and one bike came up. It happened to be in my favorite color. It was red, the color, not my favorite color, but the color that I really wanted my bike to be, because it's really a color of power. It's used in feng shui a lot for power, and I really wanted that to be kind of what I was thinking about while I was riding. And it came up, and I messaged the guy, and I said, hey, I'm interested in the bike. Is it still for sale? And he called me back 5 minutes later, and a couple hours later, the bike is sitting in my garage. And, I was very, very clear in what I wanted. Now, had I not been clear in what I wanted, and I just searched for road bike on Craigslist, chances are I wouldn't have a bike sitting in my garage. Because I would have gone through 10,000 lists. I would have probably been discouraged, because I would have seen that, the first 20 pages, they were upwards of $1,000, and I probably would have said, I forget it, and I would have just not had my bike. But because I was specific, I wound up getting it. And that's really, like Akina said, is when you're specific and you're intentional. I like to use the word intentional really more than specific, but when you're very intentional about what it is you're creating, and you're really saying, like, yes, I'm getting a bike, right? I didn't say today when I'm in my video, and go check me out on Facebook, and you can see the video I'm talking about. I didn't have the bike at that point. I didn't even find the bike at that point. I said I declare I'm getting a bike today. I'm getting a new bike today. So when you really have that intention, and it just becomes clear that you're really committed to it. It's like, oh, okay, she really means what she says, and it winds up happening. There's just this shift. Does that make sense, Akina?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You know, a lot of times we'll put something in the atmosphere and then don't follow through. And then we'll put something else in the atmosphere and then we don't follow through. And eventually that becomes a pattern. And then eventually we can't even trust our own intentions because we don't follow through. There has to be some follow through in the intention. It just doesn't say, okay, I'm going to do it, and then that's the end of it. No, there is some work involved. You have to put in the work. And that's where a lot of people get the affirmations and the mind shift wrong, because they think, okay, I've said it, now where is it? No, there's work. There's work. And yes, you are pulling in the positive energy, but there's also work involved in the positive energy. And you have to be committed to the energy that you are attracting. And you have to be committed in the thing that you are trying to manifest.
You know, and like you said, Keena, a lot of people think it's just like people will do the first step. And I'm sure there's somebody listening to this call today who's listened to our calls before and said, like, well, I made my list, and I don't know why your list is coming true, because when my list isn't coming true, it's like, well, what are you doing every day? Because I get up every morning committed to making things happen, and I actually go out and make them happen. You know, it's not that I don't meditate and visualize and say, okay, I'm going to manifest my bike and then nothing, and then just poof, like it doesn't appear, right? I didn't vaporize the bike while I was doing my meditation. I had to go out and get it. You know, another really interesting thing is I did I was reading a book about the law of attraction in the beginning of January, and I wrote it was this kind of, I guess you can say, what I wanted my life to look like, ideally, what would my ideal life, according to what I want right now, look like? And I wrote that I was working a job full-time, that I was getting paid at my current salary with a better benefits package, and that I was working less hours. And I wrote that I was sitting on my back, on the porch of my grandmother's house where I was currently living, because I wanted to live there. I said, and I was holding my new pet on my lap, and I was enjoying a glass of champagne and looking at my life and being so proud of everything that I accomplished. And yesterday I did just that, or yesterday it was cold, but a couple days ago, whatever it was, I did just that. I'm now living in my grandmother's house. I now have a new job where I'm working less hours for the same salary, and I have better benefits. And I have a new pet. His name is Sly. You guys have probably seen him on Facebook. He's a bunny rabbit. He's very, very sweet, and he loves to be held. So he was sitting on my back porch with me, and he was petting him, and I was toasting a glass of champagne to celebrate my new job. So it really is. It's amazing. It was funny because when I did that, when I had that moment, I realized I had forgotten about that meditation that I did, but I realized that, wow, like I created this. Like really, I really actually created this. I manifested this. And I think it's safe to say, had it not been for that meditation exercise I did, I might not actually be living here. I might be still living in the Bronx in the apartment I didn't want to be part of anymore. You know, I might still have that job, which, well, I'm very thankful that I had that job for a number of years, and I love the company. I no longer wanted to do because I no longer wanted to have the hours that it was, and I wanted to be doing something slightly different after, being there for almost 8 years. So, and I'm like, wow, I really created it. But the thing is, it wasn't just that I did it in that meditation, right? That was only the beginning. All that meditation did for me was get me clear in what I wanted. It got me really clear in what I wanted, and it gave me an opportunity to declare it. But then I had to go out and do it, right? I had to enroll, like, my parents into helping me and supporting me into being able to move into my grandmother's house. My intention is to buy this house one day, but initially I'm going to be renting the house, and I had to look for a new job, and I needed to literally enroll or convince the people who were hiring me to hire me despite the fact that I'm certified in New York and now I want to work in New Jersey and it's going to be a process, but I had to convince them to get to do that early. I had to look for all these things. I had to fill out the applications. I had to really, with faith, pay a lot of money to transfer all my certifications into New Jersey. I had to give notice on my apartment. I had to do all sorts of things, right? Everyone knows there's a lot of things involved with picking your life up and moving it from, one state to the other. Ironically, it's like 20 minutes away, but, that big bridge feels like you need a passport just to get here. There was a lot involved. So it wasn't like I just did that letter and then all of a sudden it changed. What I did was I got committed, I got connected, and then I went into action, and I actually went and created it. So, if you're that type of person who is just loves personal development, and there's so many women listening to this call who love and crave personal development, and, you can meditate as much as you want, you can visualize as much as you want, you can use your I am statements as much as you want, make as many vision boards, and do all those wonderful things. Read our gratitude and affirmation journal, use the planner we created. We created these as resources and tools for you. But if you think that they alone, but just filling them out, it's going to do anything for you, it's not. You have to actually stick to it. Right, if you're using I Can Create My Life Planner, we've given you every resource you need to be able to create the life of your dreams. But if you just write those things down that you're intending to do, if you just plan out your schedule but you don't show up to the meetings, you don't do the things you're committed to, guess what? It's not going to work. These are just tools to help you in your process. But like Akina said, is you really need to take charge of it, and you really need to just go out and create it, because you're very, very powerful. Figure out what is it holding you back, and then just go and create the life that you want to live, because you deserve to live the life you want to live.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. So, Jessica, you mentioned that you do meditation. How do you set those up?
It's I've actually been studying and doing meditation for a long time. Probably, I looked back at it, and I want to say around the age of 12 was when I started, around 12 or maybe 13, but it was prior to middle school when I started my meditation. So I can, at this point, really just kind of meditate in silence and do visualizations. A lot of people don't really start off that way. I recommend doing things like journaling. We have our affirmation and gratitude journal. That is meditation, and if you're doing that, that's meditation. If you're a Christian, reading the scriptures and praying, that is meditation. You can sit and you can listen to music, and that really can be a form of meditation, and just focus on the words if they're uplifting. So you can really meditate anyway. Journaling is meditation. And you can use a guided meditation. There's a lot of really great guided meditations. If you go into iTunes and just search for guided meditations, a lot of things come up. They're really inexpensive. I love a meditation by Susan Sly. It's called A Shift. I love that meditation. I use it all the time, especially if I'm on the go. I used it the other day when I was on my lunch break. You can get that at her website, susansly.com. It's $4. I think I've mentioned it on a podcast just on Thursday, too. There's a lot of really great resources you can use for meditation. But it doesn't have to be, something that's really, you don't have to just sit there in quiet and turn all the lights off and light candles and have, like, a gong and, say namaste and sit there for 30 minutes in the dark. Meditation can be as simple as just journaling. It could be as simple as writing your list of all the things that you want to create. If you have a pet, it could really be as simple as just sitting in quiet and holding your pet and petting them and just experiencing that love and just living in that, being in that moment of love. So it could really be anything you want it to be. You writing down what you're grateful for, that's a phenomenal type of meditation. Just get a pen and paper or use our journal. We have our gratitude journal, and just write down all the things that you're thankful for. These are all really phenomenal ways to start really changing your mindset and changing your life.
Well, wonderful, Jessica. Yes, I would love to leave the listeners with the fact that all your wonderful information that you gave about the meditation, and the fact that you are worth it. You are worth all of the information, all of the thought, all of the action that it takes to be the ideal you. So all you have to do is go get it. Jessica, do you have any parting words?
Yeah, you know what? Just like you said, just go get it because you can do it and you're worth it.
Well, if anything touched you today, you can definitely go back and get this podcast on iTunes, Podomatic, Stitcher. We're also on Tuned In, and, of course, changeyourmindsonline.com.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for calling in. You know, we love you. God bless. Have a great night, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Good night, everyone.